Hey there, it's Jose. In today's video, I'm going to be restyling this large ficus bonsai tree into a more cohesive design. As you can see down here, the bonsai tree has a wonderful wide base and it kind of curves a little bit and goes up to the top in a thinner fashion, which is what you want in a bonsai. But I do feel like the top is quite messy. It is just very convoluted, and once it gets to the halfway point of the tree, it's just a mess of branches, and it kind of keeps the bottom part from looking more defined and you being able to see the actual size and shape of the trunk. And the bottom branches, which are the ones that are supposed to be the most developed, are just kind of just long, thin, smaller branches. So now we're heading back to my studio. I had to get a little bit creative because it was so large it wouldn't really was capable of being recorded in my studio. So here you see the difference between the base and once it starts heading towards the bottom half of the tree, and I'm thinking around that point it's where it kind of starts losing control. You can see how it's just one main trunk and then it splits into three different ones in weird different angles that make no sense, this being the front, and then it just kind of just twists and turns in a weird way. So I'm thinking it is time for me to take some drastic actions with this tree. At first I kind of was hoping to, over time, being able to shape it and keep it its shape, that the bottom branches will get stronger and thicker and more developed, but that's just not the case. It seems like most of the growth just shoots straight to the top of the tree and it is not well balanced. So without further ado, I am going to probably cut back some of these branches so you can take a better look at what's going on and think of what I can do to showcase the most beautiful part of the tree, which is the wide base of the trunk and how it develops going up it. So I get my scissors and I just go back on the top and I just start cutting some of the very long branches that no matter what are not going to be that long if I decide to keep the top, which at this point I was still kind of wondering what can I do. So I'm just going through and just cutting the really long branches that are just blocking the view so I can take a better look to see what the top looks like and what the main branches near the top half of the tree, how they are placed, and if it's even possible to do anything with them that's not just cutting them off. Which, spoiler alert, that's what's gonna happen in a second. But you can see there's some nice shapes to those branches, but they're just not really, there's no sense to them. They're just kind of just all over the place. And it looks more like a bush you'll find in a garden than a well-designed bonsai tree. So again, I'm just little by little just cutting back so I can take a look, because with all the leaves and branches going in all different directions, it's very hard to tell what's going on. Now around here I'm just kind of noticing that the more I see of the top half of the tree, the less I like it. So around here is when I kind of made the decision that I need to just start thinking more about what I want to keep rather than what could be salvaged. So I'm thinking around here or there should be a place to cut it. So here, now that everything's a little bit more open, you can see how wide the base is compared to the top half, and you can see how random just those branches just kind of grow out of nowhere, and it kind of throws off the main shape of the tree. So I'm just kind of analyzing, thinking about how tall I want the tree, which I think maybe around here would be a good place to kind of keep the main trunk at, just because the taller the tree, the thinner the base is going to look by design, since I want for it to look wider at the base and kind of really showcase that the shorter the tree, the more heavier, the more robust the base is going to look like. So after I start cutting, I'm just like, I gotta move it from the turntable. All it's doing is rotating, and I can't really get a good grasp on how I'm going to cut it. But I decide this is going to be the highest point of the main trunk. Obviously there'll be branching that will be higher than that, that will hopefully in the future have a lot of leaves that I will able to keep under control. But part of the issue I just feel like with this tree, since it's having a hard time doing something with the bottom branches, is the fact that there are so much fine branching on the top and not on the bottom, and most trees are able to keep growing higher and higher and higher because that's what nature is designed for them. But with the bonsai tree, we're trying to sheet that a little bit and kind of keep them quite condensed. So I'm just gonna go through here and cut everything at this level. I'm just gonna push back the main trunk just to give me some space for my handsaw to get all that off. So also I was a little scared because after I started doing this, I remember that my new desk is a glass top, and I just want to make sure I didn't put too much pressure on it because I didn't want for the desk to be damaged or for the top to break, because that would have been a tragedy. But so here it goes. Here's the top part that comes off, and as you can see, it's quite thick and dense. But here is everything cut at that level. Now all the lower branches are just randomly just shooting out in a very straight line with little leaves just at the end. So what I'm going to go through is I'm going to cut everything back. Now this being a ficus, you're able to do this with most trees that are a ficus, or a lot of tropical trees you're able to do this. Obviously you wouldn't want to do this with every tree because some trees will die if you cut this much off of it, like a juniper. Bad idea. I'm basically removing all the branches to have them just come out a little bit from the main trunk, because all the branches are just straight sticks just sticking out of the trunk, and I want for that to, as a tree, the branches coming out start dividing into smaller branches near the moment they start coming out of the main trunk, and near the end you'll just have a lot of leaves coming from all these different branches. That's not going on right now, but I think that now that I got rid of the top being so dense, I'm able to develop this tree that way. So just going through and cutting everything down, and now when you look at it, you actually see how nice and wide and thick the base of the trunk is, and how it does have that twist that before you couldn't see at all. Part of it being all the branches and all the leaves, and the other part was just how badly designed it was. So I changed the lighting a little bit just so that the tree will stand off a little bit more from the background. So here's the basic shape I'm trying to get now. Instead of just having a really tall tree that just has branches everywhere, I kind of want to get certain areas. Oh, as you can see right there, there's a little tiny green spider that I had no idea was under the whole time. I'm just glad it didn't like try to kill me or something. So yeah, so here is a look at what I'm left with, and my hopes for the future is that from all the branches I decided to keep, we'll be getting a lot more finer branching coming from it. So here's the back and here's the side, so we have something to cover that area. Here's the front of the tree, here's the other side, but here's the main front where you see how wide the base is. So let me know what you guys thought of this video. It is a very drastic design change for this tree, and yeah, quite nerve-wracking, but we'll see what comes from it. I hope you guys have a good day. Bye. Thanks for watching my video. Make sure to like it, leave a comment below, and for more art related videos, go to my channel and subscribe.